This is the QTV Nightly News, and I'm Jacqueline Coley. Thank you for joining us. And you can also join us on Q Radio. Here are tonight's headlines. The 23rd China medical team has arrived in the Gambia for a one-year mission to strengthen the nation's health sector and enhance healthcare delivery. Dr. Tangara, Gambia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians Abroad, formally submitted his resignation to President Barrow following his appointment to the AU Commission in Mali. Lawmakers at the National Assembly have expressed concerns over the findings of the Joint Committee on Environment and Agriculture following its investigation into transhumance activities in the Gambia. On Friday, the Gambia Scout Association launched a new project called Scouts for Sustainable Development Goals, aimed at aligning scouting activities with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In sports news, all the anticipation is over, and the Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON got underway today in Morocco. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. Do stay. Thank you for staying with us. Now, the 23rd batch of the China medical team has arrived in the Gambia to support the country's health sector by providing clinical care, conducting training, engaging in community outreach, and donating medical items to boost healthcare delivery. Janaba Sonko tells us more.
The Gambia is among several African countries that have received support from Chinese medical teams, with over 20,000 personnel dispatched across the continent since 1963 to provide healthcare assistance. The 23rd batch arrived at the Banjul International Airport on Wednesday evening and were received by officials of the Chinese Embassy in Banjul and the Ministry of Health. The team will be deployed to major health facilities across the country, covering specialties such as gynecology, pediatric surgery, orthopedic trauma, and traditional Chinese medicine. Ling Ling, the leader of the 23rd Chinese medical team, spoke at the airport upon their arrival.
I understand that health means family happiness, just as you do. People united in need during our stay. We will work closely with local hospitals, treating patients like him. We will also visit villages, sharing health tips as neighbors do.
Following their arrival, the Chinese Embassy in Banjul organized a farewell and welcome reception for the outgoing and incoming teams respectively. Chinese Ambassador to the Gambia, Louis Jean, was at the reception.
In the past year, the 22nd team has provided quality medical service and cares to the Gambian patients, getting good reputations from Gambian societies, strengthening the friendship between our two countries and the two peoples. I'm sure that the new team will carry forward the proud legacy, doing better and giving more contributions to the health and well-being of the Gambian people.
During their one-year stay, the team will provide training, community health outreaches, and donation of medical supplies to hospitals in the Gambia. Shortage of skilled healthcare personnel and a lack of essential medical supplies remain one of the major constraints to the Gambia's health sector. Dr. Mustafa Biti, Chief Medical Officer of the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital in Banjul, highlighted that the outgoing Chinese medical team have inculcated good values such as time consciousness at the EFSTH.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, and teach a man how to fish and you fed him for life. We want to say that China has supported the factory in this country that is responsible for the production of the people that take care of our women, our children, and that is the EFSTH. This is where we train doctors, this is where we train nurses, this is where we train physiotherapists, this is where we train most health workers, so that they go home to support the people. So if you want sustainable care, you are supporting at the right place, and we really appreciate that.
The Chinese embassy in the Gambia, through the China International Development Cooperation Agency, China Aid, has recently handed over anti-malarial drugs worth over $11 million to the Ministry of Health. This is under a project called Accelerating Malaria Elimination in the Gambia, implemented by the Gambia Red Cross Society. The outgoing medical team received certificates of completion at the reception, marking the end of their one-year service in the Gambia. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
Now, in a significant political development on Wednesday, June 3rd, Dr. Tangara, the Gambia's long-serving Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians Abroad, formally submitted his resignation to President Barrow at the State House after nearly 7 years in office. Usman Jatta has the details.
The Office of the President has announced the resignation of Dr. Tangara as Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians Abroad. President Barrow accepted his resignation, expressing gratitude for his dedicated and professional service to the nation, and wished him success in his new role as Special Representative of the Chairperson of the African Union Commission in Mali and the Sahel, Sahel, based in Bamako, Mali. Starting his career as a lecturer at the University of the Gambia, Dr. Tangara went on to serve as Foreign Minister under former President Yahya Jammeh and again under President Barrow from 2018. He also represented the Gambia as its permanent representative to the United Nations. Born in Banjul in 1965, Dr. Tangara is a seasoned diplomat and academic whose career bridges higher education, national governance and international diplomacy. In an interview with Africa Agenda just before the Gambia hosted the OIC Summit in May 2024, where he played a pivotal role in its success, Dr. Tangara spoke about the importance of diplomacy.
When you are in diplomacy, you talk a lot, and you find yourself in a very funny position to talk about your success. But we are grateful to God Almighty. Gambian diplomacy has achieved a lot, and we've been very active in many areas. You know, when you had the political transition in 2016, I mean, you have a new regime, and people needed to start with something. There were a lot of expectation, and you have to manage the expectation, but up to which period? And that's where diplomacy played a key role. We have very good rapport with all, friends with all, enemies with none. But when it comes to speaking the truth and our mind, and based on principle, we will stand by our principle.
Dr. Tangara was instrumental in restoring the Gambia's international standing, and his departure to join the African Union marks the end of a significant chapter in the country's diplomatic history. Osman Jatta, reporting for QTV News.
During Thursday's National Assembly session, lawmakers expressed concerns over the findings of the Joint Committee on Environment and Agriculture after its investigation into transhumance activities in the Gambia. Usman Jatta again.
Transhumance, the seasonal movement of livestock and herders in search of pasture and water, has long been practiced in the Gambia and across West Africa, especially during the dry season. However, in recent years, this traditional practice has been increasingly associated with rising tensions between farmers and herders, environmental degradation, and unregulated movement of foreign pastoralists across national borders.
Almighty God.
The National Assembly in March 2025 passed a motion mandating the Environment and Agriculture Joint Committee to conduct a nationwide fact-finding mission to assess the impact of transhumance, particularly in affected rural areas. Presenting the committee's findings, Honorable Omar Dabo, co-chair of the Environment and Agriculture Committee, outlined several key issues.
The deforestation, bushfire, overgrazings are common in areas affected by transhumance. Even more worrying, these herders are usually armed and would not hesitate to throw weapons on the local people. It was observed that veterinary services are not effective in most of the areas.
The committee identified climate change, diminishing rainfall, and a lack of grazing land as major drivers of conflict. It also highlighted the absence of a formal agreement between the Gambia and Senegal on transhumance migration routes. Several National Assembly members, including Minority Leader Honorable Alaji S. Dabo and Honorable Alaji Mbow of Upper Salum, voiced strong concern over the current state of transhumance.
No matter what benefit we get from these transhuman activities, it will affect our sovereignty and the sovereignty of the people of the Gambia. There should be a stop to it. They are hardest to come to the Gambia and cause violence against our own people.
I think we need to engage more with the Minister of Agriculture and probably the Minister of Foreign Affairs, where we need to put strategic initiatives in place to ensure that we protect our own farmers. Otherwise, we will continue to fight in the bush and we will continue to lose animals along the way.
Under the ECOWAS protocol on transhumance, livestock movement across member state borders is permitted under specific conditions. Headers must carry an ECOWAS International Transhumance Certificate, be at least 18 years old, and travel in groups of at least 2. The protocol also encourages the use of designated migration corridors to help prevent conflict and protect the environment. The committee noted that the lack of national regulation, poor planning and insufficient involvement of stakeholders have worsened the situation, undermining social cohesion and rural development, and thus recommends a comprehensive, multi-stakeholder approach supported by strong institutional frameworks, legal reforms, and effective conflict resolution mechanisms. Osman Jata, reporting for QTV News.
We are now taking a short commercial break. At Ajib Bank, we are more than banking. We build bridges that connect you to pivotal services every day. Do you have government bills to pay to the Gambia Revenue Authority, Comfort, KMC, or the Accountant General's Department? We've got you covered. From payment of customs and domestic taxes to GRA, payment of number plate and vehicle ownership transfer to Comfort, payment of property rates and business license fee to KMC, and payment of MR passport, business registration, fishing license, land fees, sale of assets, lease application, development permits, quarrying royalties, gravel and sand, mining royalties, and a host of other revenue lines to the Accountant General's Department. Walk into any of our branches nationwide and make your payments hassle-free. Either in person or online. Simple, secure, and immediate. With Ajib Bank, there is no need to worry about government bill payments for your vehicles, taxes, licenses, business registration, and any other revenue line. Ajib Bank, passionate about your investment. We've got you covered. Ajib Bank, your investment partner.
fii mooy fan fii mooy Inessa di place bi nga xam ne moom la ñëpp taaw place bii bépp xeetu ataaya bu baax rek bu dugg see ci dëkk bi xamal li fii rek la am bara wërga bii neex na lool saf na ba pare tamit nag am gu bu neex boo ko naanee rek da ngay kontaan ci saas añ ba suur ba gëreesal li nga lekk jëndal bara ataaya bii ndax moom la ñëpp taaw gis nga sama client bii ataaya bu neex bu ne moom laa koy njëkk a jox ndax moom kat ataaya bu neex rek lay wër bara wërga bii mooy wërga bi gën te moo gën a saf kon nag ràññee leen ko bu baax kon daw leen gaaw ca Banjul foofu ca Inessa di place bi nga xam ni foofu rek nga ko mën a amee wholesale wala retail mu ngi foofu ci boori court house bi foofu ca Banjul wala nga daw ci bépp marché bépp supermarket bépp boutique fépp foo dugg rek di nga mën a am baara warga bii nga xam ne moom la ñëpp di wër tey baara warga moo dàq ci warga yi man maa ngi ci moom ndax su ma maree ataaya moom rek lay naan.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the QTV News and I'm Jacqueline Coley. Now on Friday, the Gambia Scout Association launched a new project aimed at aligning scouting activities with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Mam Nabuka witnessed the event, and this is her report.
This groundbreaking project, called Scouts for Sustainable Development Goals, is designed to empower the youth and foster community transformation through the principles of Scouting, which emphasize leadership, teamwork, and social responsibility. This initiative is particularly timely as the UN has identified youth engagement as a critical factor in achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, which were adopted in 2015 as a call to action to end poverty and inequality, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy health, justice, and prosperity. Currently, there are approximately 1.8 billion young people worldwide, and in the Gambia specifically, youths make up a substantial part of the population, with a significant percentage under the age of 24. This demographic holds the potential to drive meaningful change within their communities. This event, funded by the European Union, aims to support youth-led initiatives by putting young people at the forefront of community development. As such, the Scouts will focus on implementing projects that will work on curbing issues in key areas such as gender inequality, climate change and environmental issues, and underrepresented communities, among other things, essentially contributing to a more sustainable and equitable future for all Gambians. Here is Amadou Dafe, the Chief Commissioner of the Gambia Scout Association.
To our Scout and the young project implemented, this is your move. We trust in your leadership. We have been trained, mentored, prepared. Now it is your time to deliver. This project will go to all the 8 regions, starting from Banjul to Uara.
Buba Tamba, the representative of the European Union, and Alaji Jaju, the executive director of the National Youth Council, are convinced that the Gambia is poised to make a meaningful impact with this initiative, provided that the Scouts are guided with discipline and determination.
We are aware of the commitment and dedication of the Gambian Scouts. You are actively involved in various projects, including those related to environmental sustainability, social issues, peace and conflict resolution, and therefore the EU is proud to support your journey to put young people at the forefront of community transformation.
Development cannot happen in any society without discipline. And if there is any youth movement that impacts discipline in this country, the Scout will be number 1.
Lamin Kenjo Cham is the Chief Scout of the Gambia Scout Association.
When we invest in scouting, we invest in the future of our nation. Let us continue to work hand in hand to build a stronger, greener, more peaceful Gambia led by courageous and passionate young leaders. Together through scouting, we can make sustainable development not just a global goal, but a local reality.
The Gambia Scout Association was founded in 1921 and became a member of the World Organization of the Scout Movement in 1984. With thousands of members in the Gambia, the association focuses on youth development, leadership training, and community engagement. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
As this year's farming season is about to start, some farmers have completed clearing and started sowing coos, while others are struggling to get their seeds. However, our regional reporter Don Williams' story is narrated by Mamna Buka.
Farming in the Gambia is largely characterized by its reliance on traditional subsistence agriculture, with a significant portion of the population depending on it for their livelihoods. While the sector contributes significantly to the country's GDP, it faces challenges related to low crop yields, especially with groundnuts, which is now a major challenge to farmers, causing some of them to change to cassava, coos or rice. At Ngere Angale village, which is next to Maka Farafenyi, we spoke to Aissatou Cham.
It is very challenging for us as farmers because last year our yield was not good, especially groundnut. But coos was good. We sell our coats, go to the Lumos, especially the Senegalese Lumos, to buy groundnut for our this coming rainy season.
She said that they have been encouraged to use organic fertilizer, which they are now using. Mariama Otamba, an agriculture student from the Gambia Songhai Initiative, explained the use of organic fertilizer and its importance.
Combination of organic matters for it to decompose and form manure, and you can apply it on your crops when it is mature. So the importance of it is to apply it on the crops and to maintain the soil nutrients and the soil structure.
At Njabakunda, Lamin Kante, a youth rice farmer, spoke about the cost of a small bag of groundnut seeds.
For example, this year, a seed is a challenge, a main challenge, especially groundnut seed. Groundnut seed is the main challenge. Right now, currently, we are buying a groundnut, a bag, this small bag, this rice bag, a 50 kilo of groundnut bag, 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 or more, just only a seed. Now imagine when you buy that, 2 bags, for instance, 12,000, that alone is 24,000. Now plowed in the not come, and you will pay a tractor a minimum of 3,000 if you want to plow correctly.
Karamo Minte, the director of Agric North Bank region, explained steps taken by the government through the Ministry of Agriculture to tackle these challenges.
The preparation for this year farmers season is enormous. Actually, I think seed is a requirement for production. The government of the day has provided seed to farmers. As I speak to you now, the distribution of these seeds is being rolled out at various agricultural centers in every district of this region. And if I'm to recommend a farmer to use any type of fertilizer, I would tell them to use organic fertilizer. It has so many advantages. Even the shelf life of the crop is enhanced by use of organic fertilizer. It is healthier to consume organically produced crops than chemically produced crops. But our soil nutrient level now in this country is very low. So an overnight stoppage of chemical fertilizer will be difficult. But we are sensitizing farmers, telling them about the advantages of organic fertilizer, and some farmers are following suit. If you can go to certain communities, you see them, carrying organic fertilizer on their horse carts and to the farmers.
As this year's farming season gets underway, farmers in other parts of the country will be going through similar rituals to fellow farmers in the North Bank region. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
Coming up next is sports news. All the anticipation is over, and the Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON got underway today in Morocco. Here's Ansumana Esonyasi's brief rundown of the teams that will be battling to be crowned African champions.
This 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, also known as WAFCON 2024 for short, will be the 15th edition of the biannual African Women's Football Tournament organized by the Confederation of African Football, CAF. It is being hosted by Morocco for the second consecutive time, making them the first country to host back-to-back WAFCONs. The tournament kicked off on Saturday with host Morocco, who were losing finalists at the previous edition, taking on Zambia at the Olympic Stadium in Rabat. The tournament will run from the 5th to the 26th of July 2025 and will see 12 teams in 3 groups of 4 teams each battling it out to be the champions of Africa. And these are the groups. Group A features host Morocco, Zambia, Senegal and DR Congo. Group B features Tunisia, Nigeria, Algeria and Botswana. Group C features defending champions South Africa, Ghana, Mali and Tanzania. If the previous tournament is anything to go by, we can look forward to a feast of football over the coming weeks. Answana Esonyasi for QTV News.
Good luck to all these brave women. Now, before we end, here's a recap of the headlines. The 23rd China medical team has arrived in the Gambia for a one-year mission to strengthen the nation's health sector and enhance healthcare delivery. Dr. Mamadou Tangara, Gambia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians Abroad, formally submitted his resignation to President Barrow following his appointment to the AU Commission in Mali. Lawmakers at the National Assembly have expressed concerns over the findings of the Joint Committee on Environment and Agriculture following its investigation into transhuman activities in the Gambia. On Friday, the Gambia Scout Association launched a new project called Scouts for Sustainable Development Goals, aimed at aligning scouting activities with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In sports news, all the anticipation is over and the Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON got underway today in Morocco. That's all for this news bulletin. Join us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the Week in Review with Mamadou Mboj and Ansumane Zonyasi. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.